Approximately 71 million Americans are currently standing at a critical financial crossroads regarding their Social Security benefits. There is a specific legal mechanism within federal law that is projected to trigger an automatic reduction in monthly checks of about $580, and it is vital to understand that this is not due to a clerical error, a temporary budget gap, or simple mismanagement. This is the result of a law that is already on the books, signed, and in effect, and the timeline for its implementation is moving closer according to the most recent data from the Congressional Budget Office. While many people believe that Congress will step in to resolve this at the last minute, the current statute dictates that if the trust fund reserves are depleted, benefits must be cut to match incoming tax revenue automatically. This guide will explain the exact provisions that cause this, the updated 2032 timeline, and the specific moves you can make at Golden Seniors Hub to protect your financial future. To put a face to this situation, consider the story of a retired nurse who worked for over 3 decades, contributing faithfully to the system with every paycheck. Upon retirement, she relies on her Social Security check as her primary source of income to cover housing, healthcare, and daily living expenses. Under the current trajectory, if her benefit is $2,071, it would automatically drop to $1,491 in just a few years. This is a loss of $580 every single month, totaling nearly $7,000 a year. For a retiree on a fixed income, this is not just a statistical adjustment. It is a fundamental shift in their quality of life. This scenario is set to become the reality for millions of Americans unless personal and legislative changes occur. The legal foundation for this automatic cut is found in Title II of the Social Security Act. This law, which established the program in 1935, contains a very strict rule. Social Security cannot borrow money to pay benefits. It can only spend what it has in its trust fund or what it collects through current payroll taxes. For decades, the system ran a surplus because there were many more workers paying in than retirees taking money out. That surplus was saved in the Social Security Trust Fund. However, the demographic landscape of America has changed significantly. The worker-to-beneficiary ratio has shifted from 16 workers per retiree in 1950 to just 2.8 workers today. As the baby boomer generation continues to retire in large numbers, the system is drawing from the reserves faster than it is replenishing them. When those reserves hit zero, the Social Security Administration is legally required to reduce payments to match the amount of money coming in from payroll taxes. Currently, those taxes cover approximately 77% of promised benefits. This means the day the fund is empty, every check is cut by roughly 23% to 28% across the board. There is no requirement for a congressional vote or an executive order for this to happen. The law simply executes the change. This is the automatic trigger that most people are unaware of, and it is the reason why relying solely on the hope of a legislative fix is a risky strategy. The urgency of this situation was highlighted in early 2026 when the Congressional Budget Office updated its official projections. The CBO moved the expected depletion date for the trust fund forward to 2032. This means we are approximately 6 years away from the point where the law mandates these reductions. For a person who is 60 years old today, the depletion happens right as they reach full retirement age. For those already in their 70s or 80s, the cut will arrive with no transition period and no warning letter. Every update from the CBO in recent years has moved this date closer, not further away, making it a pressing reality for everyone currently receiving or planning for benefits. Congress has been aware of this projected shortfall for over 40 years. The last major reform occurred in 1983, which slowly raised the retirement age and adjusted payroll taxes to keep the system solvent for several more decades. Since then, despite numerous reports from Social Security trustees warning of the impending depletion, there has been a lack of consensus on a solution. Republicans often suggest raising the retirement age or means testing benefits for high earners, while Democrats generally propose increasing or eliminating the payroll tax cap. While there are many bills currently sitting in committee that could fix the problem, political gridlock has prevented any from reaching a final vote. Because the 2032 deadline is a product of existing law, doing nothing is effectively a choice to let the automatic cuts happen. Losing $580 a month has profound implications for a senior's budget. It often represents the difference between being able to afford prescription medications and having to choose between food and medicine. It covers the rising costs of utilities, car insurance, and basic home maintenance. Over a decade of retirement, that loss accumulates to nearly $70,000. It is important to remember that these benefits are not a handout. They are the return on a lifetime of contributions. However, because the system is structured as a pay-as-you-go model, the health of the program is tied directly to current tax revenue and the existing legal framework. There are specific actions you can take at Golden Seniors Hub to mitigate this risk. The first and most impactful strategy is to evaluate the timing of your claim. If you have not yet claimed Social Security, delaying your application is the most effective way to protect yourself. For every year you wait past your full retirement age, up to age 70, your benefit increases by 8% annually. This results in a much higher base benefit. Even if a 28% cut is eventually applied to the system, 72% of a delayed max benefit is significantly higher than 72% of an early reduced benefit. The math overwhelmingly favors waiting for those who have the health and financial means to do so. Another proactive step is to build a dedicated financial buffer specifically to cover the projected $580 gap. If you treat this potential cut as a planned expense rather than an unexpected crisis, you can begin saving now. Utilizing a Roth IRA allows you to build tax-free income that can be drawn upon starting in 2032 to replace the lost Social Security funds. Similarly, contributing to a health savings account, HSA, if you are eligible, can provide a tax-advantaged way to pay for medical expenses that your Social Security check might no longer cover. The goal is to create a secondary stream of income that functions independently of government policy. It is also vital to stop planning based on the 100% numbers shown on your Social Security statements. You should visit the official Social Security website, log into your account, and look at your projected benefits. Then manually calculate what 72% of that number looks like. This 72% number is your realistic financial floor. If you can build a lifestyle and a budget that works at that level, you will be prepared regardless of what happens in Washington. If Congress eventually passes a reform that prevents the cuts, you will simply find yourself with more disposable income than you planned for. Preparing for the worst-case scenario is the safest way to ensure a stable retirement. In the midst of these challenges, there is a significant piece of positive news. The Social Security Fairness Act was recently implemented, providing relief to millions of former government employees. This law repealed the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, GPO, which had previously reduced the benefits of teachers, firefighters, police officers, and other public servants who had separate pensions. This change is retroactive to 2024, meaning many retirees are now eligible for higher monthly payments and potentially significant back payments. If you or your spouse worked in a public sector job where you didn't pay into Social Security for a period, you must check your account at Golden Seniors Hub or the SSA portal to ensure these adjustments have been applied to your benefit. As you look toward the next 6 years, your focus should be on information and preparation. Start by pulling your statement and running your own personal numbers. If you are still in the workforce, consider how a few extra years of employment could bolster your private savings and increase your eventual Social Security check. If you are already retired, look at your current withdrawal rates from your personal savings and see if adjustments are needed to build a larger cushion for 2032. The fact that the cuts are automatic under current law means that you cannot afford to be passive. By taking control of your planning today, you ensure that your retirement security is based on your own actions rather than the uncertain timing of legislative reform. The projected 2032 shortfall is a mathematical reality based on current laws and population trends. While $580 a month is a significant amount to lose, having 6 years of lead time gives you the opportunity to adapt. Whether it is through delayed claiming, smarter tax planning, or taking advantage of new laws like the Fairness Act, there are paths to stability. At Golden Seniors Hub, the goal is to provide the clarity needed to navigate these systemic changes. The law may be set to trigger a reduction, but through informed decision-making and proactive financial management, you can protect the retirement you worked so hard to earn. To ensure that you are fully prepared, it is necessary to look deeper into the structural mechanics of these potential changes. The Social Security Administration operates through two primary trust funds: the Old Age and Survivors Insurance, OASI, Trust Fund, and the Disability Insurance, DI, Trust Fund. While the DI Fund has shown more stability recently, the OASI Fund, which pays the vast majority of retirement benefits, is the one facing the 2032 depletion date. When people talk about the insolvency of Social Security, they often misunderstand the term. Insolvency does not mean the program goes bankrupt or disappears. It means that the reserves, the extra money collected over the decades, will be gone. Once those reserves are gone, the program can only pay out what it collects from workers each month. This is why the projected cut is not 100%, but approximately 23% to 28%. You would still receive a check, but it would be significantly smaller. This distinction is important because it allows for more accurate financial planning at Golden Seniors Hub. Understanding the historical context is also essential. In the 1970s, Social Security faced a similar crisis. At that time, the trust funds were within months of being unable to pay full benefits. In 1983, a bipartisan commission led by Alan Greenspan reached a deal that saved the program for the next 40 years. They achieved this by gradually increasing the full retirement age from 65 to 67 and by subjecting Social Security benefits to income taxes for the first time. The challenge today is that the political environment is much more polarized, and the demographic shift is much more severe. In 1983, the baby boom generation was in its peak earning years, flooding the system with tax revenue. Today, that same generation is retiring, creating a double impact of reduced tax revenue and increased benefit payouts. This is why the current situation requires more individual initiative than ever before. You must also consider the role of inflation. While Social Security includes an annual cost of living adjustment, COLA, these adjustments are based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, CPIW. Many seniors find that their actual costs, particularly for healthcare and housing, rise much faster than the CPIW. If an automatic 28% cut occurs in 2032, it will likely be on top of several years where your purchasing power has already been slightly eroded by inflation. This compounding effect makes the $580 monthly loss even more impactful. By establishing a robust financial strategy now at Golden Seniors Hub, you can create a margin of safety that accounts for both potential benefit cuts and the rising cost of living. Another factor to watch is the taxation of benefits threshold. Currently, if your combined income exceeds certain levels, $25,000 for individuals or $32,000 for couples, a portion of your Social Security becomes taxable. These thresholds have not been adjusted for inflation since they were created in 1983. As benefits increase with COLA, more and more seniors find themselves paying taxes on their benefits. If you are planning for a $580 monthly cut, you should also examine how your tax liability might change. Sometimes, reducing your taxable income through strategic withdrawals from a Roth IRA can help you keep more of your Social Security check, partially offsetting the impact of any future cuts. For those still in the workforce, the earnings test is another critical piece of the puzzle. If you claim benefits before your full retirement age and continue to work, the SSA will temporarily withhold part of your benefit if you earn over a certain limit. In 2026, this limit is something you must track closely. However, once you reach full retirement age, the earnings test no longer applies, and your benefit is recalculated to credit you for the month's benefits were withheld. Understanding these rules at Golden Seniors Hub allows you to make informed decisions about when to stop working or how much to earn in retirement. Education is your best defense against the uncertainty of federal policy. The 2032 deadline is a wake-up call, not a reason for despair. By focusing on the variables you can control, such as your claiming age, your personal savings rate, and your understanding of new laws like the Social Security Fairness Act, you can build a resilient retirement. We will continue to monitor the CBO reports and legislative developments to provide the most up-to-date guidance for your journey. The path to a secure retirement may be changing, but with the right information, you can ensure that your golden years remain stable and prosperous. Your proactive approach today is the foundation for your security tomorrow. Beyond the immediate financial calculations, there is also the psychological aspect of retirement planning to consider. Many seniors feel a sense of betrayal when they hear about potential cuts to a system they have supported for 40 years. It is important to channel that emotion into productive action. Instead of waiting for a news headline to tell you what your future looks like, take the initiative to model different scenarios for your own household. What would your life look like if your income dropped by $580 next month? By asking these tough questions now, you can identify areas where you might want to downsize, reduce debt, or diversify your income sources before the legal trigger in 2032 is pulled. At Golden Seniors Hub, we emphasize that financial freedom in retirement comes from having multiple legs on your stool. If the Social Security leg becomes shorter due to an automatic cut, you need the other legs, your personal savings, home equity, or part-time earnings, to be strong enough to keep the structure level. This holistic view of retirement is what separates those who struggle from those who thrive. We are entering a period where the social contract regarding retirement is being tested, and your ability to adapt will be your greatest asset. Continue to stay informed, keep your records updated, and use the tools available at Golden Seniors Hub to stay ahead of the curve. The 2032 date is a milestone, but it does not have to be a roadblock. With 6 years to prepare, you have the time to turn a potential crisis into a well-managed transition. Your retirement is a lifelong achievement, and protecting it requires the same diligence and hard work that you use to build it. We are here to support you in every step of that process. Remember that the Social Security Administration's own website provides tools like the Retirement Estimator, which uses your actual earnings history to give you a very accurate picture of your future. Using these official resources in conjunction with the strategies we've discussed at Golden Seniors Hub creates a powerful defense against misinformation. The reality of the 2032 timeline is grounded in cold, hard math, but your retirement doesn't have to be a victim of those numbers. By making adjustments now, whether that's paying off a mortgage earlier to reduce monthly expenses or shifting some of your portfolio toward income-generating assets, you can effectively self-insure against the risk of government inaction. The most successful retirees are those who view Social Security as a supplemental benefit rather than a total solution. While the $580 cut is significant, it is a challenge that can be overcome with disciplined planning and a clear-eyed view of the legislative landscape. Stay focused on your goals, remain flexible in your strategies, and keep your eye on the 2032 horizon. The steps you take this year will resonate for decades to come, ensuring that you remain in control of your financial destiny regardless of what happens in the halls of Congress. Final thoughts should always return to the fact that you have earned these benefits. Protecting them through informed personal management is the most patriotic and practical thing you can do for your family. Through Golden Seniors Hub, you have access to the community and information needed to navigate this transition. The law is automatic, but your future is still very much in your hands. Take the first step today by reviewing your statement and setting your new, realistic 72% budget. Knowledge is the key to peace of mind, and your peace of mind is our highest priority as we move toward 2032 together. This plan of action is robust and covers all the necessary bases to ensure a safe transition into the new reality of Social Security. To further expand on your protective measures, it is essential to consider the impact of state taxes on your Social Security income. While many people focus on federal cuts, several states still tax Social Security benefits, which can further erode your $580 buffer. If you live in a state with high taxes on retirement income, relocating to a more retiree-friendly state could be a strategic move to preserve your remaining 72%. At Golden Seniors Hub, we often discuss how geographic arbitrage, moving to an area with a lower cost of living and more favorable tax laws, can act as a major hedge against federal benefit reductions. Furthermore, it is important to understand the concept of longevity risk. Many people underestimate how long they will live. If you are 65 today, there is a high probability you will live into your late 80s or early 90s. This means the 2032 cut isn't just a short-term hurdle, it is a permanent adjustment you must account for over a 20-year period. This long-term perspective is why we advocate for diversified income streams, such as dividend-paying stocks or rental properties, which can provide inflation-protected income that Social Security alone may no longer guarantee. Additionally, you should review your insurance policies, particularly long-term care insurance. A medical crisis in your late 70s could coincide with the Social Security shortfall, creating a perfect storm of financial stress. By securing coverage now, you protect your other assets from being drained to cover care costs, ensuring that even with a reduced Social Security check, your overall estate remains intact. It is also worth engaging with your local representatives. While individual planning is paramount at Golden Seniors Hub, collective advocacy can still influence the speed at which Congress addresses the 2032 deadline. Writing letters or participating in town halls keeps the pressure on lawmakers to find a bipartisan solution before the automatic trigger occurs. Finally, keep a close watch on the full retirement age, FRA, requirements. For those born in 1960 or later, the FRA is 67. If you were born earlier, it might be 66 and a few months. Miscalculating your FRA can lead to permanent reductions in your benefits that are separate from the projected 28% legislative cut. Accuracy in these small details is what builds a truly secure retirement plan. As you share this information with friends and family, encourage them to join the conversation at Golden Seniors Hub, where we turn complex federal regulations into actionable life strategies. The future of Social Security is changing, but with a community of informed seniors, we can navigate these shifts with confidence and clarity. Your retirement security is a journey, and every step you take toward better information is a step toward a more stable and happy future. Keep your records organized, stay curious about new financial tools, and never settle for being a passive observer of your own financial fate. Together, we will stay ahead of the 2032 curve and ensure that the legacy of Social Security continues to provide dignity for all.